I'd like to humbly ask to try that one again because there was a lot of sort of ego in the way I was talking. What I said is becoming more and more apparent. It was becoming slightly apparent for a while. Like I said, when this Dr. Ben Carson showed up. By the way, the fact that there's a lot of things that like I said, I can't be the only person who got tricked into this one. It looked like something interesting was happening. Wall Street Journal runs a thing, Dr. Ben Carson for president, and he was appearing on Fox. There's videos of him all over YouTube. He was honored by two different by two different presidents for his work in other fields. He's I guess a well respected doctor at Johns Hopkins. He started appearing, and there was a Wall Street Journal thing saying maybe he should be a candidate for president. He's African American, and he's a doctor, and he was speaking out about what sounded like he was speaking about the problems of the Affordable Health Care Act, and it sounded like oh, this is interesting. Maybe he could be, he's going to run for, president or something, or he's going to be a voice in the Republican Party, and they're going to find out the problems and iron them out with the Affordable Health Care Act or something. I mean, you got your imagination going. What's going on? African American Republican, he's a doctor. Okay, but what's becoming apparent is this. See, this show. This is the most lowbrow of the shows he's appeared on, but the segment that was after he's on tells you what kind of program this is. I mean, it's this Judge Jeanine lady, and what they have is they're doing another one of these. It's not a high profile case. That's the point. It's just a case where a football player at one of our big, universities, a girl at the school came forward and is charging him with rape, and he's taken the Fifth Amendment, which indicates if he says anything, he'll incriminate himself. So, okay, that's, a trial that's happening. They had a victims' rights advocate, and she was speaking for a while, saying, look, this girl has the courage to come forward. These kind of schools with the fraternities and the giant football teams, the football players are protected by the fact that the schools get a lot of, their money is for the football team. And she said there's so many girls that have been raped at schools like this that don't come forward, and, this and that. And then she was cut off because they have to give, she said, no, let me finish, it's important. Judge Jeanine said, no, we got to listen to the alternate position. And what it is there's some kind of morally depraved lawyers who come on the show, aren't involved in the trial, but they do this. He's casting doubt on the fact as to whether or not she was raped, even though he's not involved in the trial and doesn't know any of the evidence. And he actually said, well, look, maybe she was raped, but, she may have been. I mean, that's sort of sick bastard. He comes on and gives the alternate point of view, and they cut off the victim's rights advocate. Okay, this is just morally depraved television. What was on just before? Dr. Carson got himself on again, talking to Judge Jeanine. We've already described the character of a show like this, saying, things that would lend the voice to repealing the healthcare that's been put in place. That's what he's actually lending his voice to. He's a doctor, and he's an intellectual in the sense that he's in the class of people with enough privileged education, and a position like that, he passes for intellectual. So in other words, and he seems to know about health care generally. And he's just lending his voice, but to the Republicans who want healthcare repealed, and because he's an African American doctor, it's gonna make it that much harder to just say that this party that wants it repealed and doesn't even want it to move forward with healthcare is how could they live with themselves? He's going to make it that much harder to discredit such people. But the fact that he came on a show like this, what's going on by this point, and it was already starting to become clear with some of the rhetoric he was using. He's lending his voice to the idea that what Obama's doing is some kind of statism coming. The fact that now he's coming on programs like this, he's using every opportunity he can to get on Fox News. So he just wants to be president at this point. He's not interested in furthering healthcare. He's not doing anything good. He's on shows like this. He's on Fox News all the time now. And so what it is this guy just wants to be president and doesn't care if he's going to get used by the Republican Party because it's a real tactic to have an African American doctor from Johns Hopkins running for president when your whole thing is to take down healthcare and make Obama look like he was a failure as a president. So Dr. Carson wants to be president and nothing else. He knows that healthcare will either be repealed or not move forward, and he knows full well that a huge amount of the people that are benefiting from the more and more people signing up for affordable healthcare, the poor African American people are a lot of that population of 40 million people with no healthcare. So he's doing something that will, if it works, help to harm poor African American people. And he's, lending his voice to people who are, there's nothing, good about these people at this Republican Party and what they're doing at this point. He comes on a show like this, he just wants to be president. He just wants to be president and doesn't care that he's being exploited, doesn't care that he's furthering misconceptions, that he's furthering damaging the reputation of a president who was our first African American president and actually got healthcare moving. This Ben Carson doesn't care about anything now but the possibility that he could be president. That's the kind of guy he turned out to be. And like I said at the end of the other one, it's important for people to know he speaks well. He's a doctor. He seems to be intelligent. But just because you're intelligent and you teach at Johns Hopkins doesn't mean you're not a piece of shit. That's who this guy is, and I am a little resentful because I got gamed on by a lot of these people at Fox and this Dr. Carson or whoever he is. A lot of people, but the thing is, I'm not the only person in this game. I'm saying I'm sure there were a lot of African American people playing our thing that got gamed into thinking this guy was, someone we should make videos about supporting. I'm sorry I did it.